There we go. Start the clock. 20-minute sprint session. Everyone who has seen this before knows what it's all about. 20 minutes. We hold it accountable right to the number. So we're going to have 20 minutes. We're in, we're out. We're going to get in smarter, get out, get back to selling. Today is a special one for me. I thought I was alone in this tribe of thinking about the physical side of sales, thinking about how all of this stuff that impacts our lives while we're not working comes into our work life. So she was hard for me to get. I chased her down. I had to cold email and text and get after her a little bit with my old cold calling skills. So Clara, thank you for finally showing up. Clara Johnson, sales manager of Catalyst, formerly with Outreach. Great to have you with us on the 20-minute sprint, Clara.
Matt, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. You going back to your SDR prospecting days. I gotta hand it to you. You did a great job, and
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here today.
it was good. It was refreshing. I had to wake up some of those muscles. It was great.
I made you work for it a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's going to be well worth it. Let's jump right in. The 20 minutes goes by
Let's do it.
really fast. So why did I want to talk to Clara Johnson? Again, I thought I was alone in this because I talk a lot about physical stuff, sleep, nutrition, exercise. And I started to follow you and started to see a lot of your content and your posts. The one that really caught my attention was the one on ice baths. Tell me the origin story behind this, Clara, because you're a sales manager, you're a career sales professional, and I see a lot of content out there. I see a lot about prospecting and cold calling and email, a lot of the technical stuff that we have day to day. You don't post that much about that stuff. You're talking about ice baths, about yoga, about mindfulness. Where does that come from?
Well, I think all social media platforms kind of have this you build your brand in your niche. And when I started thinking about incorporating what I talk about with my team and how I show up as a leader on social media platforms, I didn't want to stay in the lane of prospecting or negotiations or how to prep for an initial meeting because I thought LinkedIn already has all of that. But the
Mhm.
lane that I hadn't seen a lot is the lane about physical resiliency in a sales professional's career. And I live this day in and day out. I think there are a ton of highs and lows in sales. And so much of our days as sales professionals are spent in our head, and that disconnects us from our body. And if we're not connected with our mind and our body, we're not performing at our peak performance. So I wanted to incorporate some newness in social media, in LinkedIn community, as to what else can you be doing besides just, up leveling your skills in your craft to really hit that peak performance. And I found that when I incorporate things that bring me back to my physical body, I perform at a greater rate. So I like to post about ice baths because it pushes your physical body. But mostly when you are in an ice bath, it is, like, in my opinion, 90% your mind.
Yeah.
It is pushing your mind to the extreme of, like, I can get through anything. I can do anything for 60 seconds. I can do anything for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes. I'm going to keep pushing myself. And I like to tell myself this is going to be the hardest thing I do all week. That big meeting with a CRO of a Fortune 500 company, cakewalk if I can sit in
Yep.
38 degrees for 3 minutes. So I like to bring that to the space because I think it's not one size fits all. You don't just find success by, educating yourself and increasing your skills. You also need to incorporate different lanes of, you know, things that help you perform at your peak. And so hopefully, I think that hopefully this has led to other people incorporating that into their day to day to find success.
You come at it with a very authentic voice. This isn't you grafting on stuff to talk about for something new. This is something that you've been doing for a while, it sounds like. Where does it come from? Where did you start getting into ice baths and yoga and thinking about the mind body experience?
Yeah, for the last 10 years, I've been going to therapy. I have struggled with anxiety, depression, mental health, disorders from how I view my body, and it's been a big struggle. And then you get into a career where you are kind of viewed as a number, And that's hard on the brain. So I, for the last 10 years, have been really invested into my mental health and making sure that I'm good up here. And I found through that process that a lot of what helps me have a clearer mind is focusing on my body. So when I feel anxiety or I have emotions come up, I I slow down and say, where do I feel this in my body? Is it in my
Mhm.
chest? You know, is it hard to breathe? Okay, should I do some breathing exercises to release some of that anxiety? Do I feel it in my gut? Is it nervousness? Do I need to go move my body? Um, it really just came from a place of making sure that I was healthy in my mind and then incorporating that into how I lead. I think a lot of sales professionals align their worth to how they perform from a number perspective. And there's so much more to your worth than what you do in your career. So I'm trying to incorporate what I've been through, bring it to the world, bring it to my team, and see if it can help anyone else feel seen and perform higher.
You mentioned you brought this into your leadership. Obviously, you've had a lot of personal benefit and gains from it. What have you seen as a leader? Because this is an atypical topic that comes up in a lot of sales coaching, sales training. When I bring it up with my people, and I've brought it up in the past, it kind of hits them out of left field a little bit, where we start to get into these kind of conversations, and then they'll realize, what are we even talking about? How do we get here? And they have this aha moment almost of, we always talk about this technical stuff. From your experience, what impact has it had on the people that are on your teams when you start bringing this kind of information to the table?
Well, one, I think it just normalizes the struggle, you know, if people are struggling mentally. So, as a leader, your team is really looking to you to be an example. Are you walking the walk, right? And so I think me saying, "Hey, you guys, I struggle with this stuff," or "I'm at capacity. I have been working so hard this week. I have had back-to-back meetings. I need to take some space for myself on Friday afternoon." Like, that is me taking care of myself, setting boundaries, walking the walk, and then
Mhm.
in turn it invites my team to do that as well. And I would rather have my team feel safe enough to say, "Hey, I'm at capacity. I need a little bit of a break. I'm going to be offline for 2 hours," than be burnt out and start feeling resentment or anything else that comes up. Um, I will preface that you can't just like dive into a team and be like, all right, everyone, we're going to do ice baths. We're going to meditate. We're going to do breath work today. Like it's not for everyone. So if you are a leader that wants to incorporate things that bring your team back into their body, start slow. I think
Okay.
first, talk about it yourself, what it's done for you. Be vulnerable with your team. I believe vulnerability is a thread of connection, and we communicate and we connect all day long. So why not incorporate some vulnerability in that? And then when I was managing my team at Outreach, it was the first time I got to step into a manager role. And I knew that I wanted to incorporate some of this like woo woo ness into my team meetings.
Yep.
So we started small. Hey, I'm going to give you 3 options today to come into our body. The first is breath work. We're going to do 4 rounds of box breath. It's going to take us probably 3 to 4 minutes. The second option is a 5-minute guided meditation. The third option is we all stand up and we're going to stretch our bodies for 5 minutes and I'll guide you in it. Let's take a vote. What feels good for the team today? What do you
Mhm.
guys need? Have you been sitting at your desks and you want to get up? Have you been crazy in your mind, swirling with thoughts about what deals haven't responded to your emails? Let's meditate. Oh, do you just have a little bit of like uneasiness about the week because you have so much to do? Let's breathe through it. Take a vote, and we take it in chunks and we build upon it.
So you don't roll the ice bath right into the office on day one. That's not your advice.
I wish I could, but no, definitely not. That that I don't think that that would be helpful for the team if I did that right away.
Okay. Let's do a little objection handling here. Let's deal with the skeptic, because we have a wide audience. Let's say you're talking to a manager who's been leading teams successfully for years, and the manager says, "You know what? The hippie stuff, Clara, I got it, but I don't have time for it. We're going to do pipeline reviews. We're going to dig into deals. I'm going to do one-on-one coaching. We're going to talk about how to execute better. We're going to get into gong or outreach. We're going to, some of our conversation intelligence, and we're going to listen to calls, and we're going to do a review. That's where I'm going to spend my time. And if they want to do that stuff, it's on them. It's not my job. How would you answer that?
I would, I don't think that if you're not coming from a place of authenticity in incorporating this, it's not going to be effective. So if the way that you've been managing has led to successful teams and your team is happy and healthy in their roles, and you know that because you're having those conversations, then maybe don't incorporate it, because it could feel forced, and you never want to show up as a leader in an inauthentic way. There's integrity that has to go with leadership. But what I would say is, if you do have that mindset of like, that's on their own time, they can do that, but I'm not going to preach that. I think even just normalizing the conversation of like, hey, this is the way I lead. I've had success for the last X amount of years leading this way, but I also know that in this job, that there is some physical and mental resiliency that you have to have. And if you need to take care of yourself from a physical standpoint and do things like breath work or meditation, whatever it may be, I encourage you to do that. You don't have to preach it, but I think creating the space will help your team feel like they're safe.
Have you seen the results with individuals on your team? Have you seen not just the qualitative feedback of, Clara, this was great, I feel so much better to be here, but also performance gains?
I have, yeah. So my team at Outreach that I was leading, we would, the first 5 to 10 minutes of every meeting, right, we grew upon it, but we would focus on coming back into our body. And what that allowed me to do is, when I was in one-on-one conversations with these reps, or I was prepping for big demos that they had, I could sense sometimes, oh my God, I have so much anxiety. I'm about to give this demo and it's an entire executive team, and I'm only 24 years old and I've never talked to execs. Like, they go through this whole spiral in their head. And I'm like, whoa, 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 let's slow down. Let's come back into our body. Because if you feel this way, you're going to show up in this call this way, and they're going to be able to smell that. And you don't want them to smell that fear or anxiety. You want to show up confidently, and you know what you're talking about. So I know you can show up confidently. Let's take some breaths. Let's slow down our nervous system. Let's come back into our body. Let's level set. I give them some words of encouragement after we do that. Maybe we even visualize crushing the demo together in our 5-minute meditation. And every single time that I have done that, after creating the space of safety, right, and practicing in our team meetings, it has resulted in better outcomes. Therefore, progressing deals forward, them coming from their seat and their essence, their authenticity, and adding their own little, special sauce to the demo and being their person. People like to buy software from people. So why not show up as your true self and not be distracted by some of the negativity or the thoughts that go through our mind that take us away from being our authentic self.
Yeah, and you mentioned something a few minutes ago about the mental game that goes along with our job. I was speaking with a guy named Andy Stumpf recently. He was the former instructor for Navy SEALs. So he did Navy SEAL onboarding, and something you said reminded me of something he said, which is everything we do with Navy SEAL onboarding. I know it looks like it's really rigorous physically, and it is, but we're stressing the body to test the mind. And it's the mental breakdown that is the reason why guys quit that program. It's not the physical stuff. Yeah, they have injuries along the way, but 75% of the people that quit, it's all mental. They just can't handle it. And it's because of what their body is telling them. And obviously, we're not going through Navy SEAL training, but we're still in that same conversation, right? Where in sales, we're stressing our bodies all the time. We're stressing our minds, and that mind body relationship shows up every day, and we can't get away from it.
I forget the name of the book, but there's this book written by a Navy SEAL, and he talks about callousing the mind. to basically perform at peak.
Yep.
And callousing the mind is exactly what you just said. It's practicing these things over and over and over again so we can, be resilient and push through some of the hard things that our body is going through or our mind is going through. So I love that.
So if there's a daily routine, see, a triple session, we're all about practice, about the small things that you should do daily that impact the greater outcomes. If there's one small thing, I know you talked a little bit about taking some time, breaths, checking in. If there's one small thing somebody who's listening to this right now could start to incorporate today, what would that first step be into bringing some of this into a daily routine?
I am a big fan of morning routines. So I
Okay.
think if you don't have one, you should create one. I think it's really unhealthy to wake up in the morning and look at your phone, or to wake up in the morning and start working right away, because you're not giving yourself a moment to ease into the day. So I say, if there's one thing that you can change about a daily practice, it would be your morning routine. And what I like to do in my morning routine is something that allows my mind to slow down, and also something that brings me into my body. So I like to meditate every morning, anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, depending on how much time I have. And I like to move my body. So that might be going for a walk, that might be doing some yoga. I like to go to the gym in the morning. So something that allows you to just be by yourself for however many, even if it's 5 minutes, by yourself, slowing your nervous system down, slowing your thoughts down, drinking your coffee, and that will help you be more grounded throughout your day. Because if you're not carving out time for yourself at the beginning of the day, you probably won't get it throughout your day, and you'll feel burnt out, you'll feel too stretched, maybe you have resentment, maybe you have thoughts that you haven't processed and they're showing up in how you're approaching prospects. So have a morning routine is my biggest piece of advice.
What time do you get up in the morning?
6 a.m.
Okay. Um, so quick takeaways here. That morning routine is taking some time alone, getting into your body moving, making sure that you bring some activity and action early. And with meditation, let's say you're talking to somebody who's never meditated before.
Yeah.
How do I start there? Like, I've heard about it, you know, it's really common, but I don't know where to begin. Where do I begin? What do I do? Looks like I'm just sitting there.
Meditation is hard. Listen, I meditated for the first time 10 years ago, and I was like, this is bogus. It actually creates more noise in my head than less noise. It's a practice.
Yep.
I will say it is a practice. You have to really build yourself up in meditation. So, guided meditation is great when you are first starting. You can go to YouTube and you can type in guided meditation 3 minutes. You can do a 3 minute meditation, and it will guide you through what you should be thinking about, where if your eyes should be closed or open, your body, how you should be sitting. And that is great to build on. I also, I follow this guy on TikTok, and he does like 60-second meditations. And basically, what he has you do is he has you focus on feeling your body. So you don't even close your eyes, you just sit there and you start feeling your body. So I feel my hands, I can feel my fingertips tingling a little bit. Maybe my feet are cold. And you focus on that for like 30 seconds. Just focus on the body. And then the next 30 seconds, you just take into consideration what's going on around you. So in this room, I see my computer screen light. I see you on the Zoom. In the background, I see the BQE with the cars moving. And if you focus on your body and then you create spaciousness in your mind as to just take in what's happening in the present moment, that's meditation. So you can start small with just coming back to your body and being in the present moment and taking in your surroundings, or you can dive into some guided meditation and build on it. But I just want to empathize that meditation is something that is difficult for some people. So take it slow, and also read the book, The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, because it revolutionized the way that I thought about meditation and incorporated it into my life.
Okay. What can you tell us about Arise and Alluvians?
So most sales professionals are high achievers. And what I've often found is these high achievers want more. They might be super successful. They're making a ton of money. They're getting the promotions, but they're like, there's something underlying that I want more of, or something that maybe doesn't feel right. I don't feel aligned. And it typically falls into three buckets. They need to be up leveled, or they need more training in sales skills and tactics because their company isn't getting it for them. Maybe they don't have it through their community, whatever it may be. Or they're not really great at the mental game. They struggle with some negative thoughts that, hold them back from achieving even more greatness. Or they don't have a community that helps support them and hold them accountable to these big dreams that they have. And we wanted to create a space, which is Arise. It's a program where you go away for a weekend with other sales professionals. We call it an immersion, same word for a retreat. And we focus on those three things. And we figure out, okay, you have all these unique gifts and skills and geniuses that you bring to the world. What's the purpose of that? What do you want to do with it? What's your vision? And then which area of those three buckets do you need to tap into in order to achieve those things? And the best part about it is, one, you're in cool places for a weekend. You're with community that thinks very similar to you, that's high achieving people. And you make great connections. You learn some things about sales skills that you may not have learned at your company or through LinkedIn or through books that you've read. And you get to dig deep into the mental game with other people who are digging deep into the mental game. So if anyone is like, oh, that's me, I'm a high achiever, but I think I'm meant for more and I don't know where to go, Arise is definitely the place for you to step into and maybe find how you can achieve those goals.
Okay. Where and when?
Next retreat is in Austin, Texas, November 10th through the 12th. And I post about it on LinkedIn all the time. So feel free to visit my page and you can find it, or you can go to alluviance.com/arise.
All right. Check it out. I know I am. I was just in Austin a couple of weeks ago. Such a cool city. It's a great place to have it. That's it. We're out of time.
We're
Grabbed a couple
done.
extra minutes. Went by fast. That's a good sign, Clara. Thanks so much. Again, if you're listening to this, follow Clara on LinkedIn. That's how I found her. I am addicted to her content. It's fantastic. You've got a recipe for how you can get started with mindfulness, with breath, with meditation, eventually work your way up into the 3-minute ice bath plunge. It will change your game. Clara Johnson, again, thank you so much.
Matt, it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great. That's it. Like I mentioned,
Virtual high five.
there you go. This was
That
great.
was awesome.
Yeah, deeply appreciate it. We'll edit it probably over the weekend, get it live next week. Again, if you want any of the clips on our side, let us know. If you want to promote anything out, you can just grab it.
I'll definitely promote it out. So if you want to send me any clips, I'll be posting it on LinkedIn. And Tom mentioned that you're going to meet with him in a few weeks.
Yep.
Which is awesome. Have you talked to Alex Kremer yet?
I sent him a message. I asked him for some time. Curious to know what he's doing here with Arise and what the origin story is. So people just don't, wake up one day and say, hey, we're going to have this retreat. And, there's usually a step-by-step interesting background there. So we'll see. We'll see what the story is.
I had a meeting with him before this, and I told him I was meeting with you. So I'll nudge him to respond back to your message, because he's got a really cool story of how he created Alluviance and why he brought Arise to, the market. So I think it'd be an interesting conversation between you two.
How did he find you?
I actually was his rep at Outreach. He managed me.
All
and
right.
He did that for like a year and a half. And then I moved to a different team and we became close friends. And then now we're peers at Catalyst. We've grown up in our sales career together. It's been fun.
Very cool. One question, we didn't get into it here. Do you also get into nutrition, diet? You talk about that stuff, sleep with your people?
I don't necessarily talk about sleep. I don't track my sleep, or I haven't gone deep into it, but it's something that I am definitely curious about. I want to get that Aura ring that helps you. I want that. I do talk about nutrition, and part of the especially with women, I posted about cycle syncing and our hormones. There's different types of foods that we should eat at different times. And so I've definitely talked about like how you fuel your body is how you fuel your mind. And men and women are different in the types of nutrients we need at different times. So making sure that they're eating healthy for peak performance. If they have a big day, we're not carb loading, we're maybe a little bit more lean with our protein and vitamins, fruits, vegetables, whatever it may be. So nutrition is definitely important to me. And I need to work on the sleep aspect. All right. We'll talk later. It's nice
Great
to
to
meet
meet
you,
you,
Matt.
Clara. Bye.
Bye.